Shalom. I'm Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. Today, in Israel, and I think throughout the world, we are observing Holocaust Remembrance Day. We have, in our collective memory, and in fact, a recent memory, we have memories of the most horrific acts ever perpetrated by one group of supposed people to another group of human beings, to the Jewish people. We have there the of immorality, the essence of unholiness. This week's Parsha, Torah reading, is Parsha Kedoshim, which is just the opposite. Talks about being holy. The Parsha starts by Daber Hashem El Moshe Lemor. God spoke to the Jewish people. And he says, Daber el kol hadas b'nei Yisrael, speak to all the people of Israel. Yomar tu aleim, say to them, Kedoshim to you, you shall be holy. Ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokeichem, because I, the Lord, your God, am holy. This Parsha comes right in the midst of the counting of Sefira. And I'm going to try in the short few words that I have to connect the process of Sefira to this Parsha of Holiness, of Kedoshim. The Torah commands us, actually it's in next week's Torah reading, Parshas Emor. It says, Usfartem lochem, you shall count for yourself b'machras haShabbos, from the day after Shabbos. The Shabbos there refers to the first day of Pesach. Miyom haviyachem es omer hatanufa, from the day you brought the barley offering. Sheva Shabbosos Tamimos Tianu, you shall count 7 complete Sabbaths, 7 complete weeks. And what's at the end of those 7 weeks? You count 50 days, and the end of that period is Shavous. We're counting from Pesach to Shavous. A number of questions arise as to the usage of these words. It's referred to as the evening of after Shabbos. The first day of Pesach is referred to as Shabbos. We don't see that anywhere else where any holiday is referred to as Shabbos. We have Yom Kippur, which is Shabbos Shabboson, but in terms of the 3 holidays, the Sukkot and Shavuos, they're not referred to as Shabbos. What is the Torah teaching us from this? It's showing that this first day was really like Shabbos. What do we have on Shabbos? On every Shabbos, we have a certain power that comes from above, without our really needing to do anything. When Shabbos comes, we're enveloped in a bubble of holiness, in a bubble where we see the beauty of Hashem. We open our minds to come closer to Hashem. On Shabbos, we're like on the highest peaks available. On the first day of Pesach, at the night of the second day of Pesach, God is showing us what we can achieve. And then the rest of the time, we go into Sefira. Sefira is a time of sadness, but we are counting. And what are we counting to? We're counting to the receiving of the Torah. We're counting from the exile from Egypt, the exodus from Egypt, counting from the exodus from Egypt, leaving Egypt, where we were sunk in the 49 levels of depravity. And we're going 50 days from Pesach till we reach the 49th level of holiness, of receiving the Torah. It's no coincidence that the portion of Kedoshim that we're reading in Shul this week is, at least in Israel, I've forgotten whether in the outside of Israel, whether they combine the two Parshas, Achrei Mos and Kedoshim, or not, because of the last day of Pesach. Here was Friday, and then was Shavous. So I'm not sure what that is, but in any event, Parsha Kedoshim, it's not just a matter of chance that it happens. We know that there's no such thing as chance in the Torah. What is Kedoshim about? Hashem wants us to be holy, and the Parsha of Kedoshim, according to Rashi, has the core elements, the core mitzvos, the core commandments of the entire Torah. And a lot of the commandments in the Parsha of Kedoshim talk about how we deal interpersonally with other people, how we relate to our parents, how we relate to dealing in business with people, how we relate to the importance of justice, how we relate to every aspect of dealing with another human being. And Hashem is showing us that what you need to reach a level of Kedusha is to follow these things. Now, the Baal HaTurim, he points an example. He says, how does one reach this level? And he compares it. He says, the last week's Parsha, Acharei Mos, the last sentence in the Parsha says, Ushmartim es mishmarti. You shall keep my commandments, basically. You shall do, in other words, you shall observe the negative commandments, to not do what I've told you not to do. And the Baal HaTurim says, by doing that, then God will help you reach a level of holiness. Looking at the Sefira, it's called Sefira Omer, the bringing of the Omer, the barley offering. What is barley? What is barley? Barley is typically animal food. We go to Shavous, and what do we bring on Shavous? We no longer bring an offering of barley. We bring an offering of wheat, of bread, of human food, showing how we can move from the lowest level, from an animalistic level, to a level of being a human being on the highest level. Sefira is hard. There are many challenges. Hashem is showing us that by virtue of having shown the glory of Hashem on the first day and the things that Hashem can do, we have something to look at. It's like somebody taking you up to the highest mountain so you can see all around you, and then taking you down from the mountain, and you're then working hard to get up to that top. What keeps you going? You keep stumbling over rocks and everything else, but you know that at the end, you're going to reach the top of that mountain. The same thing with Sefira Omer. We go through stumbling blocks as in life, not just during these days, but in life. Hashem puts many stumbling blocks in front of us, but we should always know, we should always keep in mind the ultimate goal and the fact that we can achieve what Hashem wants us to achieve. I am reminded of a story which connects to the interactions between people in this Parsha Kedoshim. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, first of blessed memory, first went into a child's class where they were studying the Talmud. They were beginning with the Talmud with the Masechta Bava Metzia. Bava Metzia is a volume that deals with the relationships between man and man. And he asked the children, he says, why do you begin studying the Talmud this way? And Rav Moshe answered, he says, because unless and until you have a relationship with your fellow man, you can't possibly have a relationship with God. That's what Sefira is telling us, to try to improve ourselves. Parsha of Kedoshim is telling us that, to be sensitive to the needs of our fellow human beings, to our fellow Jews, to work towards a unity of the Jewish people and ultimately a unity of everybody in the world, so that by us showing the way, counting the Sefira, improving ourselves every single day, we can bring not only the Jewish people closer to God, but the world closer to God. We can go from the depravity of this day of Yom HaShoah, of the remembrance of the Holocaust, to the holiness of receiving the Torah. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat, and we shall see the beautiful light that God has given us and be able to take that light in on every single Shabbos and, in fact, on every single day. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.